Yeah, actually, I was at Imperial. I'm still at Imperial, but I started as assistant professor at UCL a few weeks ago. Thanks for hosting me. Yeah, today I'm going to talk about consumer IoT devices. Any object nowadays can be connected to the internet, from smart speakers to cameras. Even your fridge can be connected to the internet. And we call these Internet of Things devices, and they're great. They make our life easy. But what we are invisible trading in exchange to these devices, why they are so cheap, sometimes even cheaper than the production of the device itself. So this is where my research journey started. I wanted to know what we are invisible trading in exchange to the devices. When we talk about consumer IoT devices, we need to talk about three things. What if we are exchanging privacy and security for minor conveniences? What IoT is exposing over the internet? They are exposing our personal information. And what might this mean for the future? So why we are interested in this? All of these devices have sensors on them. So smart speakers and microphones may listen to your conversation. Cameras, smart doorbell, for example, are cameras that can watching you. And television may know what you are watching. And we had in the press lately many cases in which, like we saw, like doorbells activating without the permission of the owner, smart speaker listening to your conversations. And the problem of this device is that there is a lack of understanding. They may, by definition, access the internet, so they may expose your information over the internet, but there is a lack of understanding of what information is exposed and to who. And there is a lack of understanding of regional differences, for example, because we have some regulations here in Europe that are not available overseas. So what is IoT exposing when it comes to privacy in your smart home? For understanding this, we built two IoT taskforces, one in UK and another one in the US, in Northeastern University. And we bought more than 200 IoT devices. We bought the same devices for the two different taskforces. And we started collecting all the traffic that the devices are exchanging over the internet. So our methodology is able to test these devices, auditing these devices continuously with automated experiments. So we can trigger smart speakers in automatically way. We can activate cameras. We can activate smart bulbs. And we can collect all the traffic. We collect all the traffic in the home router, and we collect all the traffic per device and per experiment. And we discovered some of the things. For example, we discovered that the majority of devices that are located in the UK lab are exchanging information with servers that are located overseas, where different privacy jurisdictions are in place. And we discovered also other cases of unexpected behavior, like, for example, smart popular doorbells that were activating at each motion, even if we opted out for that in the smart app. We saw that popular smart televisions, like, for example, Samsung or LG, they were contacting Netflix, Facebook, even if we didn't have the account for that application in the television. And we discovered that some smart speakers were activating without saying the wake word, so without saying Alexa, like, for example, just saying, I like Star Trek. So we did a study only for smart speakers, and we discovered that they are misactivating, so they are activating and recording our conversation for up to 10 seconds for more than 19 times per day, so without saying the word Alexa, just listening to other words that are similar to Alexa. So this is a privacy risk. And we also did another study, like we collaborate with an inter-service provider in Europe, and we try to identify and locate the IoT device, just looking at the network traffic, the IoT devices in their networks. And we discovered that this is possible. So we create some cross-checks, detection rules, some fingerprinting rules for actually understanding if it's possible to detect the IoT devices just looking at the network traffic in a huge inter-service provider network. And we discovered that it's not only possible to identify the IoT devices, but also understand the activity of the users in the inter-service provider network, just looking at the network traffic. So we discovered that more than 50% of the destinations from US or UK are not first party. So they are not owned by these destinations. Your data are not going just to the manufacturer. They are going somewhere else. Sometimes, for example, these devices are using content delivery network, but most of the time, your data are going to third parties. So many standard users ask me, yeah, what is the problem? Like, I don't care if some people in California have my data. But the problem is not about the user itself. The problem is this mass influence, this profiling. And having your data and your voice for the manufacturer is very easy to build a unique profile for you and influence your choice in the future and the choices of your grandchildren. So this is what it means for the future. There is a big problem, and the problem is that IoT devices expose information over the internet, and the problem is that the users don't have tools for protecting themselves from privacy and security. There are some existing commercial solutions, but they are slow, they are unreliable, they don't detect all the privacy and security attacks, and other limitations, like, for example, they do all or nothing connectivity. So this is why at Imperial, we try to build a system that protects the user from privacy and security threats, and this system is called IoTrim. IoTrim is a software that runs on the home router and can be connected, can be used by an app. And what it does, using machine learning and AI, basically it determines what is essential or non-essential, what are the destinations that are essential or non-essential for the device to connect, to use. So how does it work? We have basically 4 components. We have the IoTrim list server, in which we have all the destinations that are non-essential. So the IoTrim list is built in our lab and in the lab in US. And we have all the destinations that are essential and non-essential for the device to contact. And then we have the IoTrim app, and then we have the home router, the software for the home router that is basically detecting all the privacy and security threats. So IoTrim is able to do automated configurations, so it's able, using machine learning, to detect in only 30 seconds all the devices that are connected to your router. And so it's able to download the IoTrim list, automatic identification of new destinations to trim. And it's also able to detect security threats in real time. Some of the security threats are detected like in, let's say, 24 hours. It depends on really how much we can fingerprint the security threat. And it is also able to give the user the possibility to manage his privacy. So this can have a huge impact for inter-service provider, for example, when this tool can be added as an add-on in the router that they ship to the users. And it can be also used for enterprise, so this can be also useful, for example, for XIoT. we will talk about this later. So what does it mean, what is the future of these IoT devices? When we talk of strengthening the IoT ecosystem, we need to talk about 3 things. Trust, so this manufacturer needs to be trust. And IoTrim can be some tool can be used for that, but we really need collaboration between standard organization, government. We need these devices to be certified as trustworthy. These devices can be interconnected, so we need solutions that allow interconnectivity, and we need to have collaboration between the devices and use this collaboration for enhancing privacy and security. And we need awareness, authentication, and management through, for example, data protection authority regulators, information commission officer here in the UK, but also the European board. So we need to give users transparency for these devices. So this is our team. I'm here today, and also Hamed is here, so if you have any question, you can, we are happy to answer it later. Thank you very much for listening, and yeah, thank you.